Hello and welcome to the next episode of Point Counterpoint, our weekly debate show here on Herald TV, where we meet, discuss, pontificate, fight, argue, and ultimately lay a path for the future. This topic of today is significant to say the least. It doesn't talk about a political party, but it talks about the politics of Goa and the manner in which the days of single party dominance have completely gone. We've been seeing it for the past, say, 3 elections. Of course, in 2012, the BJP did get a majority, but at least in the last 2 elections, one has seen how a fragmented mandate has led to so many permutations and combinations which have not been good for Goa. We don't know what's going to happen in the 2022 elections, but the likelihood of a fragmented mandate is not ruled out. Why does this happen? Why do we need alliances? Why do parties need to join hands after the elections with forces they fought against earlier? These are kind of topics that we need to discuss, and for this we have representatives of the three major parties. The Congress unfortunately could not make it at the last moment, but I still feel the discussion can be meaningful with the kind of an excellent panel that have kindly consented to take part in this debate. Let me introduce them one by one. One is Giriraj Pai Vernekar, a senior BJP member of the state election panel, party spokesperson, earlier worked very closely with the former Chief Minister, Mr. Manohar Parrikar. Next is again a veteran member of the AAP, Sandesh Telekar. He has been with the AAP since its inception, contested the last elections from Kankon, and now is likely to be the party spearhead in the bastion of Fatorda. Welcome, Sandesh Bab. He is also the vice president of the party. And last but not the least, Yatish Naik, in his freshly minted avatar of a TMC leader, very articulate spokesperson, orator, and somebody who has delved into pan-Goan issues, both academically and otherwise. I'll start this discussion by first turning to Giriraj Bab. If you heard how I began this discussion, if you can just give me your first thoughts.
See, I think when we speak about alliance, and especially there is a lot of times when you hear criticism from opposition parties, but I think the whole, the way you look at alliances is very subjective. Like for example, in the assembly elections in 2017, there was a huge argument that the Congress, which the Congress made, that they were the single largest party. The same principle they did not remember when they formed the government in Karnataka, where they made the junior partner the first. The same goes for AAP as well. I mean, if you remember the first time they formed the government with the help of Congress after, Bachcho Ki Kasam, they still went ahead and formed the government when BJP was the single largest party. So I think, these are actually used in a very, selective and a subjective manner. And then also we talk about ideology. The same thing if you look at 2019, that happened in Maharashtra, for example. It was the alliance that won. And people of Maharashtra reposed their faith in Devendra Fadnavis. The Congress and the NCP actually robbed the people of a mandate that they had given.
What about 2017 Goa?
See again, I mean, if you are looking at a democratic setup, when a single largest party does not come to the power, or a alliance, like what happened in Maharashtra, there was no pre-poll alliance that actually got a majority in Goa. So in that context, I think the magic number is 21. BJP was able to prove it. So
correct, but what I'm saying is the same principle that applies to other parties.
Correct.
Has also been followed by the BJP.
Agreed. So
it's a pan-political phenomenon.
Absolutely, I am not denying it, but what I am trying to say is, somewhere there is a fashion that says that, especially with AAP, saying that BJP has manufactured numbers. I think everybody has done that. All I am saying is ultimately what you need in Goa Assembly is 21 seats, and BJP has had since 2017.
Well, 2017 it was manufactured because they got 13 and they got rest.
See, again, that's what I'm saying. But when there was no single party got majority on its own, like we got in 2012, or no pre-poll alliance, I think the alliances were parties were free to discuss.
No, before I go to Sandesh Babu, see, the spirit of this discussion is also to go beyond what parties are doing, but look at the phenomenon per se. Since you're a veteran in this, just wanted to ask you before I go on to Sandesh Babu, what do you think are the reasons why the electorate is not delivering an absolute majority to one party?
See, I think in 2012, the entire, if you see BJP getting majority under the leadership of Mr. Parrikar, I think they somewhere came together and decided that we need the Congress to go out. In 2017, see, a lot of times what happens is, you also start taking governance for granted. A lot of roads came in, the Zuari Bridge was set into motion, the Kavi Bridge came in, but I think somewhere people start taking governance for granted, and that is where a lot of people voted based on local issues. So I have always appealed to the people, irrespective of which party I represent, I always tell people that you should vote for a political party that can form the government. Today a lot of parties are mushrooming in Goa. Well, basically what they are going to add to is horse trading. Okay.
We'll get back to this again on the mushrooming party. Just get Sandesh Babu. You could respond to some of his points, but the basic question we feel we need to elaborate a little bit more. Why is the electorate not delivering a clear mandate to?
It's basically because the people who have been elected have failed to deliver. That's the base thing. Besides that, the opposition which has been there has also failed to play a very important crucial role in the governance. So that is where everything fails and people get confused. People have very little option, option. Now new parties are coming. AAP has been there, other parties are also coming. This will give people an option. See, all this time it has been BJP, Congress or another MGP or Goa Forward.
No, but don't you also think that, what is the need of the hour is not the multiplicity of parties per se. The need of the hour is a stronger mandate to one party. So my issue is, Goa, one of the reasons I see is also because of a lot of local issues and different constituencies also become little universes. And people don't necessarily vote for parties, they vote for the local leadership or a local strongman in that particular area, which is why one of the reasons could be, and that is my take on this, is that there is no cohesive thing as a party based on what we've seen so far in the previous elections. But ultimately there are individual leaderships who control different zones of Goa, and those zones become the universe of those people. So irrespective of which party, which is why you see some people, irrespective of the parties that they can leave one party and join another party and yet go on winning. You look at Vishwajit, you look at Babush Ponserat, you look at most of these people, they keep on winning irrespective of which party they are in.
Yes, definitely. This was a scenario all this time. But this time, I think things are going to change. Goans have understood that these are the individuals who take people for a ride. So now it is going to be a party-based election. I believe, and I'm sure this time Goa is going to vote on the basis of the agendas, then on individuals and other things.
Okay,
it's the agenda what has to be followed.
I'm sure there are different opinions on that, but that's your point of view. Yatish, if you can just give us your opening remarks based on what.
See, Sujoy, I feel that political dynamics always evolves with time and situations, and political propositions are always dynamic. They are not static. They depend upon the situations and circumstances. Having said that, the concept of pre-poll alliance and post-poll alliance are not novel in political philosophy. Now, why do you need an alliance? Or why the concept of alliance finds favor amongst the electorate? Or why post-poll alliances come into being? Basically, we have to understand that parties are supposed to understand the pulse of the people and accordingly arrange themselves on the basis of a governance agenda if they want to deliver good governance. See, the first formative years of the statehood from 61, elections were held in 63 for 17 years. You had MG, you had a big leader, Bandodkar, thereafter his daughter, Shashikala Kakodkar. So politics was sort of MG dominance. Thereafter, it went through a very turbulent period of time. People of the state have seen so many things happening, and people of the state have made a very, very clear choice. And when they have gone into the ballot box, they have exercised a very, very decisive opinion through the ballot. And what is the opinion? The opinion is that first fundamental is this: the concept of vote share is not a fixed deposit. See, even now I see some political parties going on a proposition that our vote share will remain intact and the opposition vote share will split. Please understand, vote share is not synonymous to fixed deposit. If you take care of your voters, sympathizers, party people, vote share remains intact. If your party does not take care of your voters, sympathizers, vote share goes away, drifts, and goes and tags on to the nearest in competence to form an alternative dispensation. Another issue which is very important, as far as vote share is concerned, it also depends on the luster and promise of the party. If a particular party which has been in power loses its promise, luster, the vote share migrates, it goes away. So these are the propositions which we should understand. Now, a particular political party feels that it is an old political party in the state and it will do no hard work, it will give no promise to the people, and success will fall from the heaven. See, these propositions are not accepted by the electorate. Electorate wants that the political party which is contesting elections should contest on crystallized viewpoints, policy perspectives, and an executable blueprint. Once these things are accepted by the electorate votes for you. We have seen other parties, so many parties. BJP got a mandate in 2012. Why BJP got a mandate in 2012? Please understand, if people wanted to vote for BJP, Manohar Parrikar's first stint as Chief Minister was from 2000 to 2005, correct? If people wanted, they would have voted for BJP in 2007 in the elections. They did not vote. They got Congress back. Pratap Singh Rane was the Chief Minister. Ravi Naik was the PCC President. They got Congress back. But in 2012, the spell from 7 to 12 was so disastrous. Every issue magnified itself and manifested itself into a big issue, became a big problem. Administratively, the state suffered. So what did people do? They threw the Congress out, which was a party which had majority MLAs, and got Manohar Parrikar and BJP with 21. It was not, I look at it, it was a more of a vote against the Congress and the administration of the time than a vote for the BJP.
The next point, taking off from where you left off, you left this at a very interesting stage, and my next question used to be that does change happen, or do people vote because of issues, or do they vote for leaders? The point here is that in 2012, we have taken Yatish's points on board, but I've always seen that not just in Goa, wherever there has been one strong leadership and the election has been presidential rather than otherwise, a clearer mandate has been delivered. We know in 2014 in the Modi mandate that BJP got, if the BJP had got some other face and done a general election without a face, they may not have come to power in 2014. Let's accept it. In 2012 also, it's a mix of what you are saying and what my submission is going to be. People were completely against the Congress, there was no doubt about it. The mining scam, corruption, family Raj, everything got into one. But if the BJP did not have a strong leader at that point of time, they wouldn't have seen the BJP as an alternative. See, they did not see BJP as an alternative. They saw Manohar Parrikar as an alternative, whatever the case may be at that point of time. Of course, again, that mandate got withered away over a period of time. That's another story. But the point is that, I'm coming to you, Giriraj Bab, don't you, and look at Delhi for instance. My point is, if the issue is that in AAP, in Delhi, AAP won also because of Arvind Kejriwal being from there. But that success has not yet been replicated in other states. It happened in Delhi, could not be replicated. So these are interesting points to discuss. But if we can all have a go on this point on irrespective of whether you have issues or not, you need one single pivot around which elections are always contested. And that Goa does not have now.
See, if you ask me very clearly, and today when we talk about leadership, today I think the only party that has a very well-defined leadership and a very clear path towards the elections is the BJP. Today,
In Goa?
in Goa also, I'll come to that and I'll come to it in details. Today, when you look at all the political parties,
Do enlighten us on who the leadership is.
I'll come to that. See, today when you look at let us see there are four major parties. BJP, Congress, TMC and AAP. Though I strongly believe the fight is between the Congress and the BJP. I'm still okay since as a respect to my fellow panelists. Today, you look at TMC for example. They are what have they done? It's a Bengal-based party outsourced to IPAC in Goa. Today, Prashant Kishore has a say over everything. I don't think there is any local leadership there. Even when there was a UP between MGP and this, if you see, the more glowing tributes were paid to Prashant Kishore and his brilliance and Mamta's caste and ability to chant shlokas. So I think people see that. When it comes to AAP, they ran a spirited campaign in 2017 as well. And if you ask me, I think that was the best campaign. And what did they get? In 39 seats that they contested, 38 they lost deposit. And I think there was a novelty factor around AAP in 2017 where Kejriwal had just come up with a lot of
So according to
promise.
what happened? Why did AAP not do well electorally?
I think people also realize that, I think there was an attempt to, go with major parties. Because if you look at even in 2017, BJP's vote share came down by nearly 2%. But that does not, translate into seats the way it did in 2012. And that is a very, where I think people also largely voted for the Congress in a certain block, BJP for the other block. But and that is where, players like AAP got wiped off. Now, even coming to, even when he said pulse, today, I don't think you can come to Goa and, within 3 months or 4 months, you can catch the pulse. So it is basically even that job the BJP, the IPAC is doing for them. So this is a very different coalition that we are seeing.
No, we'll come to that. We'll get the TMC representative to respond to this. But firstly, two things.
Yeah.
My issue is that my question was, do leaders make it or do issues make it? And can you win elections without a strong one pivot around it? Point number one. And point number two, who is BJP's leader?
Yes. So I think, as you said, there is a lot of changes. BJP also has undergone a lot of changes with a lot of people coming in. And BJP is a cadre-based party. But also when you add new people, because traditionally Congress has always been a party of satraps. Today most of them are in the BJP. So they also bring a certain cadre with them. So if you believe that, just because some cadre has been disappointed, there are new cadres also being added. And today you are talking about BJP, which is the world's largest political party by membership numbers.
Okay.
Also, when you talk about leadership, there may have been, there is a lot of times you say that, a lot of outsiders are coming. But today your chief minister is somebody who has grown and risen from the ranks of the BJP.
Right.
Your party president is somebody who is a former MLA, general secretary, member from a long time, who worked very closely from the inception of the party in Goa. So all I am saying is, when it comes to these strategic positions, there are TMC, who's there? Their face is imported from the Congress. Yatish Babu also, with all due respect, now he is criticizing the Congress's rule from 2007 to 2012. He was defending it in maybe 2017. So so all I am saying is, there are new parties which have mushroomed. They have no pulse of the people, and that is what happens. So but as far as we are concerned, we have a leadership. And very good, interesting factor about TMC. If you remember, TMC had contested in Goa in the past. Where did they disappear? Who gives us that promise that they will not disappear again?
What is interesting is that my line of questioning was not on the TMC at all. The fact that the BJP is so worried about the TMC is also interesting.
They are not. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. If MGP has done a favor on BJP is by aligning with TMC.
Okay,
so
my issue is, okay, I don't want to cut, I don't want to cut you short. I'm just trying to steer the debate onto a topic, though this topic is really interesting, and I will allow this discussion to happen because viewers would love it. But I'm just going back, if I can just bring you back to my original question, which was that do you feel that a strong leader is needed in any which party to ensure that a full majority is given to the political party? Because without that, parties cannot carry.
I think strong leadership is definitely needed. Today, when you talk about the BJP, all your leaders are from the rank and file, and that is what we are taking to the people.
Okay,
and
one
also, if you remember, we have about double engine of governance, where Mr. Modi is extremely popular, and it will be a Dr. Sawant plus Modi leadership.
Okay, I will take the liberty of reading from your article.
Yeah.
Okay, I think you wrote it about a year ago. Okay, and I will just, for the benefit of the viewers, read it,
Sure.
because what you've written here slightly contradicts what you're saying now, perhaps. Okay, you said this is after the 10 MLAs moved, and it's your authorship, your words. How do such inductions fit in with BJP slogans of the nation first? How is BJP then a party with a difference? How can BJP now provide shelter to the men it despised in the past? How can BJP's core now be around Congress in BJP's clothing? How can party workers who till yesterday worked tooth and nail against these elements now follow their diktat? How can BJP candidates groomed as opponents to those MLAs now fade into the background? So this is one quote. I will keep on quoting from
Sure,
you. So now these are your words.
Correct.
So if these were your words in your piece, then what you are saying now is a little different from what you said here.
See, all I said was when the 10 people were brought in and the way they were brought in, there was no consultation, it happened overnight, and there are a lot of characters that have moved away. So that is why when I said that a lot of cadre moved out, but a lot of cadre also came in.
But those are not BJP cadre.
No, they may not be BJP cadre, but today you tell me who has the original cadre. Today, whenever, when he goes to
No,
the...
but you are a party with a difference, no?
No, that's what I said. I said ultimately the factor of winnability has taken over, and as I said, most of the people who were with the Congress, the regional satraps who were there, today are in the BJP. So today the only difference is it still is a party which is run by a leader who is who's been from the party. Pramod Sawant is a very good example. A young leader.
Can you give me 3 more examples?
There is Tarun, who's the state president.
Electorally,
And Mr. Shripad Naik.
In the electoral field.
No, even Shripad Naik is a name which is there.
I'm
Dinesh Kabral is another example. He's a 2-time MLA.
So among the people who will be in the electoral fray, you named 2.
Yeah. So they are there. Mr. Naresh Zavekar who was there.
He won't be
The
in
leader general
the
secretary.
he won't be in the electoral fray in the assembly elections.
No, when you talk about the electoral fray, I think it's too early to call because this is not my domain to tell you who will get the tickets.
Correct.
That's for the parliamentary board to decide. But I will be very happy to come here, even debate my own article. See, I am not shying away from anything that I have said, and I stand by this.
You stand by your very important word when you said
100%.
that there are congressmen in BJP's clothing in the BJP.
Because when we say Congress Mukta Bharat, I think a lot of people like me were hurt. But as I said, today when you look at all the options, you also realize that BJP is the only one that can give you a stable government. And also, this whole today the politics of freebies that is being built around, I think we are the only party that is going with 10 years of governance.
Okay.
And I stand by it.
Fine. Okay, of course, we need to bring the others in. Firstly, just if you could just respond, Sandesh Babu, 2 things on my original question on without a strong leader, because AAP, the only, I would say, the grudge that people have about AAP is that across the last election and this election, from 2017 to 2022, you all have not managed to get a strong face for the party. You will be hunting for faces. You had Elvis Gomes projected, then that experiment did not work. You still haven't managed to. So my point is that from then to now, why has AAP not been able to create even a single leader or even 2 to 3 leaders who can be seen as the face of the party?
Yes, there was a lacuna actually, but then party is working over it, and recently there have been a lot of faces like Amit Palekar. Valmiki has been right from the beginning. He is a big face of Aam Aadmi Party. Rahul Mamre, who is the convener, is a good face and who can lead this entire campaign or state further. Lots of other faces like Cecil, Venzi Viegas, Pratima Coutinho, who's recently joined. Now there are new joinings which are going to come in. So yes, party is working over it. We are a new party. Definitely we had our base.
But again,
in
we
Delhi.
get back to the same thing that parties are increasingly depending on people from other parties to come. See,
No,
what has happened
definitely
is-
not. Definitely. See, I was never into
No,
any
I'm
other
not
party.
confused. I'm also
Valmiki
saying-
was never into
No,
any
I
other
agree.
party.
I
Rahul
agree.
Mamre was
I
never
agree
into
on
any
those-
other
I
party.
agree on those things.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying, I completely don't dispute with that at all.
Yes, yes.
But every party, including BJP and as well as you, parties which have been there are increasingly need to get into the mergers and acquisitions route to strengthen their base. So which obviously means that parties are unable to expand on their own accord without dipping into the electoral resources of other parties in some constituencies.
It's a very small state, sir. That's first thing. And secondly, there are, about politics, there are very few people who, the politics has been made so bad by the existing setup that there are people who don't want to get it. But now it has started, and I think going ahead in Goa, we will have lots of new fresh faces which will come in, and the required change, what is needed, will come
But
up.
do you agree, last question before I go to Yatish,
Yes.
do you agree that the failure to project a one strong leader has been a handicap in spite of the issues that you all have raised?
No, definitely not. AAP has been very strongly coming up. In the down the line, another 15 days, we will have a face, we will have everything on place.
Okay, moving on to Yatish, a lot of things to respond. But first,
I would wanted to add one more thing. He spoke about Delhi. I think Aam Aadmi Party is the only party which has shown them their place in Delhi.
no, I know.
Besides having 250 MPs on ground.
With one state.
Yeah.
Okay, let it go now. You can respond later.
250 MPs on ground campaigning against Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party won that election with 62 seats, and it was purely based on performance.
No, the nation
And-
saluted the AAP then.
Yes.
And the AAP repeated its mandate, there's no denying. This only strengthens my point where I'm saying in a state where you have one strong chief ministerial face, because Arvind Kejriwal is not a chief ministerial face in Goa or
Definitely
Punjab.
not, definitely.
So what my point is, irrespective of which party across the board, you need a strong face to deliver
that
mandate.
face has been built up. It's
So-
coming up.
Yeah, so it's still not there now, which is fair enough. But I'm
yeah,
saying that
yeah.
right now, let's accept that. Yatish, two things. Just respond at random, but stick to the points that we've raised.
My friend Giriraj would love to rely on Goebbels' theory in Hitler's regime. Talk a lie 100 times and it becomes the.
What is the lie?
Please understand. First of all, I found three things in his
Deposition.
in his talk. Number one, his love for BJP, which he has found again. He had quite gone a mile. He sort of has refound that love.
Is that true?
No, I'm going by what I'm going by his
Party
article.
like him. I'm not a party hopper.
No,
like him.
I'm going by this. I saw his very eloquent piece in writing. So he's refound the love. Number two, what I found is his love for Congress. He says very clearly that Congress is the opposition. And the third thing, which is very important, anger against TMC.
Anger or
Anger.
angle?
Anger against TMC.
Angle.
Okay, because if TMC is nobody, why is my dear friend wasting so much of time in that anger against TMC? Another very important thing.
That he'll respond later. First.
No, very important thing. Please understand that TMC is not a Bengal party. In 2016, TMC has become a national party. TMC originated in Bengal in 98 on the 1st of January, but it became a national party in 2016. BJP was not born in Goa, and AAP was not born in Goa, and NCP was not born in Goa. But then all this does not find part in the eloquence of my friend Giriraj. What finds part is only TMC is a Bengal party. So one very important thing is that what is essential to be understood is TMC is not a Bengal party. It is a national party since 2016. It has all the constitutional right conferred under the law to go and put itself as candidates, good people as candidates in wherever there is a need to bring in good governance. And most importantly, the main question was never answered. This is I am only responding to something that was never asked. The main question is whether leadership or narrative. This was the main question. Suddenly the missile misfired into a domain where
No, but it just made the debate more interesting.
No,
So,
no, that's
means,
okay.
so I
That's
welcome
okay.
it. I completely welcome it.
That actually on the flip side showed who the opponent of BJP is. But nonetheless, see, please understand, Goa has had very tall leaders in the past, and India has also seen that. You take southern politics, southern Indian politics, you take northern Indian politics, you take even Goa's politics during Bagdodkar's regime, a tall leader with a sufficiently armed narrative becomes a very deadly combination. But thereafter, we have seen in recent times that a narrative based politics is what has caught eye more among the people's choice.
Rajesh, I would like to agree with you, but my point is I'm unable to get examples of where this has happened.
No, I will tell you.
You see, let's say Bengal TMC. Didi was the pivot.
Yeah.
Correct? Delhi, Kejriwal was the pivot. Let's look at Congress in Madhya Pradesh. Maybe you could say that was narrative based because Kamal Nath was not really the face, but he was projected later. But can you just give more examples of where, see, I would say except Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan, those only 3 elections that the BJP has won in God knows how many years, I don't
I'll
see
tell you.
any other.
No, I won't agree with you. In 2004,
No, I'm searching for a narrative based.
2004, it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee versus the way they made it. Atal Bihari Vajpayee versus who? India was shining according to them, and people told them that India was not shining, and they thought that they'll come back. But what did people do? People got the UPA at that time, and at that time Manmohan Singh was not projected to be the Prime Minister, but Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister. So why I'm saying it?
You're talking of 17 years earlier.
No. I'm not talking. I'm talking of historical facts and answers to many contemporary questions.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Politics is changing.
Politics changes as we talk.
Okay, so
It is that dynamic.
okay, so let's look at from 2010 onwards. Can you? I'm searching for answers as much as I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm essentially saying is that from 2010 onwards, how many elections do you recall? You know, you may do it better than me, where a party without a strong leader has won either in the country or in the.
No, but what makes you believe? See, please understand that every political party has got a narrative. The narrative is liked by the people, accepted by the people, rejected by the people, not liked by the people. It depends. Now, I will take you back to 2012. What happened in 2012? The narrative that was of the incumbent government was not liked. What was the narrative? That there was complete blindedness, insensitivity. That's what I said. If people wanted BJP, they would have got in 2007.
But in 2012, let's assume that Mr. Manohar Parrikar was not the CM face. Suppose he was in Delhi, you didn't want to come back. And suppose there was anybody else. You would look at anybody else from the next rung of leadership. Suppose Shripad Naik was projected as a chief minister, or it could be anybody else. Do you think the BJP would have got so many seats?
No. Understand one thing. He was the opposition leader from 2007 to 2012. So he sort of established himself as the natural chief ministerial candidate of the BJP. I don't want to talk about what BJP had to do, but what I'm trying to tell you is that a very strong narrative. Now see, what is wrong with this administration that is going on today? See, my friend Giriraj wants to say everything is hunky-dory. But please understand, there are issues.
No, he's not saying everything is hunky-dory.
No, he tried to say that now. He tried to say that now, or at least my ears caught that. He wants to say that everything is hunky-dory in the government, and he has got a very good chief minister in Pramod Sawant. Please understand, there are issues. Your capital loan of the state has hit the roof. Your per capita debt has hit the roof. Your inflation has ensured that price of petrol and diesel has gone out of the hand of common man. It has touched 100 mark. Your gas cylinder has gone to over 1,000. Your unemployment rate is at its highest. See, what is the
So are you
narrative
saying,
building up?
okay, are you saying, now you're saying these are issues. Let's say that these are very important issues. Now, can an opposition party seize these issues and have just anybody as the chief minister will face and win on
No,
the basis
who
of
said
this?
so? Who said so?
Yeah. But
What
without
they-
a strong leadership, can a party, any other opposition party, take advantage of these issues and get a mandate? That's my
Yes,
point.
see, that's exactly what I'm telling you. When people vote, when you have been especially in power for 10 long years, 5 because you got a mandate, rightly, wrongly, whatever, in 2012. But in 2017, you know from his own articles that it was never a mandate. It was sort of a manufactured numbering or manufactured numbers. But they formed the government, wrongly though, but they formed the government. People see what have you done in 10 years. If you have done something good, people will speak good about you. If you have not done something good, people will not speak good about you. That's what I was telling. See, again, Mamata Banerjee, she is in her third term as chief minister. And in the third term, she comes with 214 out of 290 odd. What does it mean? Pramod Sawant came with, the BJP came with 13. Pramod Sawant came later. It came with 13. Mamata Banerjee is in a third term with 214 out of 290. And it is a state where 70% population is majority.
But again,
community.
Yatish,
So what
but
I'm
again-
telling you, people, when you are in power for 10 years or 15 years or even for that matter 5 years, people will go on your performance. The first mandate that you get is on your promise.
yes, Yatish, one sec. Before I need to get the others in also, I'll just end with the one
Can I
response,
add-
one
can
point
I-
and move.
can I just
yeah,
add-
I'll just do this. See, again, Mamata Banerjee has won elections only in one state so far. Okay, TMC is not there in any other state. To replicate that,
TMC is not
to
there,
rep-
you cannot say.
I mean,
TMC may
not-
not have formed a government in others.
same
There was
thing.
strong presence in Tripura also.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, yeah, so what-
see, you know
No,
what
no,
happens.
okay,
So much of
let's not-
frustration
let's
is not
Let's
good.
not deviate.
So much of frustration is not good.
Okay, one second. Let's steer this back. Yeah, okay.
Frustration should be channelized properly.
The TNC BJP to maybe can continue, but my only point
No,
here
I
is,
love it.
my submission here is this: that again, what happens is that Mamata Banerjee can cash in on her governance in Bengal. Cannot cash in on her governance in Bengal automatically in Goa. It's not a given, because what happens is you need to, okay, you come in with a lot of pluses because of your governance style and you were riding a victory and coming in. But my issue is, so did Arvind Kejriwal riding on the Delhi wave, came to Goa to give a Delhi kind of governance and give the Delhi model. The point here is that unless there is homegrown leadership,
That's going to happen. That's
yeah,
what I'm
no,
saying.
I know, but what I'm essentially saying is that a success in any other state is not an automatic guarantee.
Of course
You cannot
not. So
replicate.
what
Which is why you need
I
local
can speak
leadership.
for my party.
Yeah.
In TMC, be rest assured, TMC is going to put candidates who are performers in the society, who are political, people who have served in the society, people who are political, so to say, representatives at a level. And please understand, I'll just conclude. And please understand that as we come closer to the elections, as days go by, you will see a set of good people to be projected by the TMC, and that's when people will decide for vote.
Sandesh, quick word then.
See, it's not that only TMC is on his line, it's AAP also. The biggest, largest party of the world, talks about a party which has just come. So fine, we understand this because they know that we can perform. Because our performance has shown them their way in Delhi.
No, he also said he all fought a good campaign in Goa.
yes.
He said-
In Goa, we were beginners in 2017 in Goa, but last 5 years we have been there. During the worst times of COVID, Aam Aadmi Party is a party which has served the people of Goa.
Correct.
Which has served the
we
people.
get that.
But at the same time, yes, leaders don't happen in a short term. They happen because even the tallest leader which they bank upon, Mr. Manohar Bhai Parrikar, happened over the years. He grew over the years. So that time should be given to all. We have young, good faces, capable faces who will grow taller day by day.
Okay. So at the end of the day, I think the quick conclusion is that okay, you may have issues, but you need leadership. There is no denying. Yajwa, you want to quickly respond, or should I go on to the next?
So I'll just respond to a few things that.
Few things, and then we'll go on to the next point.
Very few things,
Yes.
in fact.
Yes.
When he talks about 2017, a lot of my friends in the Congress tell me that the one who deprived the Congress of the government is in their party today, or rather their leaders.
Completely
who
wrong.
wanted to be the CM.
Completely wrong. Completely
You
wrong.
know,
Okay, we respond.
So, see,
Completely
again, as I said, he said
Completely.
you found love for the party.
You only tell
I
the
have
people why
never-
13. You
I
have
have
performed so
never-
well that you are reduced to
Despite
13.
of all my, see, I did not interrupt you. I think he doesn't have the basic courtesy
No, no,
to
okay.
allow me to speak. I have allowed his tirade, literally. You know what goes on. See, I really love the arrogance of both AAP and TMC. They have one state in the entire country. We just had a conference of chief ministers in Varanasi. You know how many BJP chief ministers were there, and that. So I don't want to really go down to Delhi or Bengal as such. He said I have a specific anger towards TMC, even though.
BJP is ruling in how many states in the country?
Come back with the number, but I don't want to do the calculation right now.
Under 10?
Under 10, it's okay. But how many are they?
No, I don't. That's the same.
No, but we still.
You are the largest party. You are the largest party of the world.
Yes,
And
so.
you say you don't know the number of chief
But you
ministers.
are running one government.
Yes, we are.
You have lost deposit in 38
Successfully
states,
running that
38
government.
seats in Goa.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, quickly
See,
respond to this.
successfully, we have had 2 successive Lok Sabha elections where you were a non-entity.
Okay,
See,
quick response. Quick response to Yatish. and then-
2017,
What he
you are
said, today the Congress is not here, unfortunately. That's why I have to. Otherwise, I have to ignore this two people. Because I don't consider them a party of national
That's the
importance.
love.
Any which way. But my anger towards
This is arrogance.
my anger towards TMC stems from the fact that 63 BJP workers were killed and the High Court had taken cognizance and given it to the CBI. There is a SIT formed by the High Court of Calcutta where they have said SIT should be formed to specifically investigate crime against women which happened
I don't mind you raising this, but all I'm saying is that this
No,
is not the subject of discussion. But I allow you this
You have
because-
allowed him to go
Correct.
on,
Which is why I'm saying correct.
all issues.
Correct.
If you are
I'm not stopping you. I'm not stopping you.
So that's what
I'm
I'm saying.
not
So,
stopping. I'm not stopping you.
nor we have thrashed
I'm only
people,
pointing out.
nor have we thrashed people because they have a different ideology. And secondly, he responded to most of my criticism that is there. But he did not respond to the fact that TMC has disappeared in the past and may disappear again. They had contested, if you remember.
Hardly an election,
But they came to Goa, contested.
That was the last moment. Correct.
So even now, where have they come in advance? Even now they have asked.
No, but
But the person who
but we have to agree.
As far as BJP is concerned, I think the biggest loser in Bengal was the Congress. From 3 seats to 77, and that is how even the TMC has grown. I think.
Okay. You feel the TMC is parachuting and AAP is not a local party. Fine, we'll leave it at that. Coming to your own party, okay. Now the whole issue of leadership is something that we need to discuss. Do you really feel that you have a very strong leadership under whom the state can go to the polls and resoundly win?
See, I think there are, ultimately whether party goes into whose leadership is something that the parliamentary board decides. But if you see 3 key people who have visited Goa, Mr. Modi, Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Nadda, who is the president of the party, all 3 of them have, praised the chief minister for handling Goa. And he has got only 3 years, out of which almost 2 years got wiped off in COVID.
Okay.
So I believe that he absolutely deserves a chance. And see, today we have a very, very clear leader. Today they are still under the import scheme.
Okay. My issue is this.
Yeah.
If the BJP has a clear leadership, which you would like to believe, and if that works, you'll do well. That's no doubt about it. But if you have a strong leadership and a strong party, then why do you need to get so many people from other parties, other MLAs? Why are you still reaching out to other MLAs to join your party? I mean, you got a Goa Forward MLA, then you got an independent MLA, Rohan County, you got Jayesh, and you're not kind of stopping at that. So my issue is that if, and also do understand that there are 10 people from the Congress who happen to be in the BJP who happen to be Congress defective MLAs. Before that, Bishwajit Rane took oath as the Congress MLA, and within 5 minutes he went to the bathroom to have a wash, and he came out and resigned. Then Dayanand Sopte went from the Congress, got into BJP clothes. Subhash Shirodkar left and got into BJP clothes. The point here is that, sure, I mean, you need to win, you may be a strong party, but it is a burning reality that 90% of your MLAs are imports from other parties. 90%. Okay. Where is your homegrown leadership which is going to go to the polls?
See, but if you look at some of the, say, as I said, I mean, a lot of things will also depend on who gets the ticket, who doesn't get the ticket.
Correct.
Best example, I think, where a lot of course correction also has happened as far as the BJP is concerned.
Yeah.
The best example is Vasco.
Okay.
Where Taji Sarkar lost out because, but Taji Sarkar has also come back. So, so basically, while you are taking other people into the party, I think the cadre also is getting strengthened. Because Taji was always a BJP Karyakarta, very RSS.
And he is getting the ticket from Vasco.
See, I am not, as I said, I am not authorized to speak on the tickets. Ultimately, it's the parliamentary board. So, but even the original cadre is coming back. As I said, I mean, for you read out the articles that I had published against the BJP. And as I said,
no, I think it was for the BJP. You gave some good points.
So that's what I said. Because Yatish Bab said, there is a new love found or whatever, but I never left the party. And as I again said, I'm not a party. At least I have not switched parties like him. I have never claimed that I resigned from the BJP. I vented out my anger, and I think the party has again accepted the fact that people can have difference of opinion and still be in the same party. But as I said, today the only party that can give proper majority and with the help of central government, it is the BJP, and that is why if you strengthen the party, I see nothing wrong in that. Like for example, I think there are other people also who should be asking questions. Reginald was almost on the way out.
Okay.
To join up.
No, firstly
Why did he decide
was on the way out to join, but then he had that
JV.
midnight meeting at the Taj with the BJP. What happened?
No, but see, I mean, Reginald is.
That's fine. That's moral.
Sorry.
That's fine.
No,
When,
but
when he goes to meet
to join you, and
that's not a problem.
So let us not get into that. But at the same time, somebody like a Ron Khote, when he decides that he wants to join a mainstream party, he chooses the BJP.
But you are okay to get people with tainted past. I'm not commenting on Rohan per se, but you're okay to get people with tainted pasts.
See now again, I mean, as I said, I mean, ideally based on what I had myself written, I would have preferred a very, good, clean candidates. And I think if you want to give clean candidates, I think the change will have to start from people and not political parties. Today, I mean, AAP may talk about anti-corruption. Today, who's one of their biggest catch? Dayanand Narvekar. I mean, do I have to even recite the kind of cases that are against him? So I think, ultimately people decide or people make a candidate winnable or not winnable. And if you are giving tickets to a candidate who's winnable, I think it's for people to decide.
But do you agree that the current lot of BJP MLAs, the people they're getting into the party, ideally they don't represent the BJP's ideology or the kind of MLAs BJP should have, and that is a challenge.
That will be a challenge. But having said that, I think it's also important because ultimately when you're in politics, I think the first priority is to be in power because you can serve the people.
Even if it means that people with the Congress Gotra are in the BJP.
See, now if people from, also you ask the other question, why are people from all Gotras joining the BJP? That's also because they realize that all other parties are rudderless ships.
But does that mean you'll get anybody from any Gotra?
We are 1.5 months or 2 months away from the elections, and their leadership is still work in progress. Congress still doesn't know who their leader is. Congress has been reduced to, because today you look at anybody and everybody who has flirted with the Congress, and they tell you they just don't take decisions. I mean, for all the NGP, if you look at Sunil says, first I went to the BJP, then I thought it may not be proper, then I went to the Congress, they never took a decision, that's why I went to the TMC. So it might also be that NGP went to the highest bidder.
No, but so when they come to you, they come out of love. When they go to other parties,
I'm not
it's
saying that,
because
but what I'm saying is today, if NGP is gone, but what I'm saying is they are never open to anybody.
Who?
NGP. So that is the core issue, that today ultimately what people, everybody is looking at is visibility.
But yes,
And
I
BJP
may
cannot give the kind of seats that
I may agree with you on all your points, but the fact remains that there was no need to get those 10 Congress MLAs into the BJP when you were already in power. And then also at that point of time, you went against the alliance or alliance dharma.
I'll tell you again, I mean, on Alliance Dharma, actually, I have a very different view. I think at that point of time, the BJP had only two options, either to stick with the blackmailing opposition that always threatened to bring down the government, or get 10 people in. People like me revolted at that point of time, but still the party leadership thought that it was in better sense. Today, I mean, for example, just imagine today, if those people were still part of the government, they would have created absolute ruckus trying to, emerge larger than life. Now, talking about Alliance Dharma with the NGP, when we did an alliance with them in 2012, we promised them 2 ministerial seats. When we won absolute majority, even then we gave them 2 seats. And like in TMC, NGP is also a family enterprise. Where they are run by the Banerjees, they are run by the Dhavikars. They decided that instead of Lahu Deepak will be a minister, we stuck to the Alliance Dharma, even though we may not have like 2 brothers in the same cabinet. We still went ahead and gave them. Now, despite of that, when the elections came near, you remember what tirade Deepak ran against Mr. Parsekar, where they left no option but to sack them from the government. Now in 2017, again as per Alliance Dharma, you kept him in the government. Even after others were, removed, MGP was still there. But when the Shiroda happened, despite of repeated promises, Deepak still decided to contest. Now, what message were you sending to the people of Shiroda that one brother is a minister there, and here the MGP and this? So I think if anybody has broken the Alliance Dharma, it is the MGP. And if, as far as Goa forward is concerned, I think it was the BJP leadership at that point thought getting the Congress MLAs was better than having a blackmailing alliance partner.
I'm tempted to read one more paragraph of yours.
Sure, please.
Perhaps the worst part of this jamboree is the fact that some of the MLAs imported into BJP have extremely tainted paths. Take for example Talegaon strongman Bhamush Kamsar. He has changed more parties than a person changes clothes in a day. He has allegedly been involved in cases of sex rackets, smugglings, attacking a police station and most recently raping a minor. Okay? He was in the BJP a long time and was the cause of that BJP government. Most recently, he fought on a seat vacated by Parrikar, where the present CM openly rebuked him for his lack of character. BJP Mahila Morcha of Goa said that he would not be safe if he was elected to Parrikar's seat. Now he is stripped to be a minister. Now, the point
It is not minister.
no, when you wrote this, he was stripped to be a minister. So I'm saying, okay. So what I'm trying to say before I take a short break is that the situation hasn't really changed since then. You are going into the elections with literally the same set of people. Don't you think that worries a hardcore BJP supporter like you?
See, a person like Bhamush Kamsar definitely worries. But as I said, I mean, Mr. Jatish in 2017 or 2019 when Congress gave him a ticket was on the Congress. And possibly
I never contested.
Sorry?
I have not yet contested.
No, but you were in Congress at that point of time. So
No, I have not contested.
It was the
My-
Congress
okay,
I have
that gave
not
him a
contested.
ticket.
My issue is this.
said
Let's focus only on this and then you can go back.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Does this worry you?
They are in love of TMC.
Of course, it does. No, you were in Congress. I'm not talking about TMC.
Okay.
Don't take that much of importance. So I'm saying, Mr. Bhamush Kamsar was given a ticket by the Congress. So that's what I said. If it is the viability of such candidates should be decided by the people, and I would urge people, that irrespective of which party, people who are tainted by law should actually be sent home until 2022.
Okay.
That I stand by.
What will you do with the 10 defectors who have come?
So as I said, I mean again, when ticket distribution happens, let us see how many are actually given ticket, how many decide to stay. So it's still too early to call. It's still about 15-20 days away. So as I said, I'm not running away from any debate. Once the tickets are finalized, let's have another discussion. And maybe there are many articles that I've written. This is not the only one. I've been defending each one of them.
Okay, we'll take a short break now. We'll come to you on the other side of the break with some more issues and questions. Thank you. Okay, after the break, I'll start from the extreme left. My friend Yatish Naik needs to talk on a few issues. Yatish, to start with, we began this conversation with this whole issue of alliances and why parties do not get a majority. Just tell us that what was the need for the TMC to reach out to the MGP when it first started off as wanting to contest all the seats on its own? Where was the felt need?
See, TMC is not an arrogant party. TMC is a party which believes that we need to usher in good governance. I like the way Giriraj said it. He said if Congress was here, he wouldn't have cared for AAP and TMC here to even answer. That is what I meant, today's BJP's love for today's Congress. Please understand, TMC believes that we need to be the people's force against the BJP. And why? As I told you, there are so many issues which are plaguing Goa, which are affecting Goans. And if you want a good administration, you have to provide a credible alternative to the people. And as I said to you, politics is dynamic. At some point of time, TMC may have said, we'll fight all 40. But later on, TMC came to this with MGP, that if they come together, we can provide a credible alternative to the people. Because what do people want? People want a Goa-centric progressive agenda for Goa's growth. And how do you do it? You do it by getting everybody who is having the same objective on board and fighting the BJP, which is providing Goa with bad governance. So TMC's alliance with MGP is on a principle. And what is the principle? The principle is of twofold nature. First is to drive a narrative for good governance with people-centric agenda. And second is the prerequisite for this, for ushering this new dawn, is to ensure that BJP is pushed out. So how do you do this? Is TMC MGP comes together. That is the sentiment of the people, that you need a force where TMC, MGP and even some others maybe who want to defeat the BJP come with the TMC and fight the BJP. So people's expectations are that we need good governance. We believe that Goa needs good governance. We need a Goa model of development. And what is Goa model? That is what I was saying. I want this to be a little issue based. See, he says, I wouldn't even care, but the whole thing is a TMC. I look at it like this. TMC is going by the path which people want TMC to perform and which we feel we are obligated to perform in the interest of the Goa with the people of Goa.
A quick intervention, will come back to you immediately after. Quick intervention is this, that when the journey started, you believed that you could have a pan-Goa presence everywhere. Somewhere did you do a rethink and reassess the movement on the ground, and do you feel that more forces are needed?
No, see, understand, as I said to you, the sentiment of the people is that those who are opposed to the BJP and those who can constitute a credible opposition should come together to fight. So that's what even Didi said when she was here. She said that TMC, MGP is that credible opposition which is fighting the BJP on a narrative. What is the narrative? To bring in a new dawn of good governance. And those who want, join the TMC. Those who want, come with us. But understand it, the whole aim is that we need to bring a good era of governance. And I am on issues here. I pointed out to you. The situation in Goa is such that unemployment rate is at its highest. Ministers in the government are saying, and MLAs in the government are saying that jobs are being sold. A MLA in the government is saying, a MLA of the ruling party is saying that this minister needs to be removed. A MLA in the government is saying that jobs are being sold on an auction. Now, the governor, who was a BJP appointee, says that this government was absolutely corrupt in dealing with certain things. So basically, people have been speaking against BJP. Yeah, people have been speaking against BJP because people don't have a sense of belonging with this government. This government was never voted to power. When you try to get MLAs defected into your party, see what are these things that he has written? Please understand. You are trying to say that what you have done by engineering defections is correct. You are trying to say getting defections, is it right? Is it good for your democracy? Please understand. People want a government which is founded on the premise of democracy. I am trying to say that this was not the government that was voted to power. Please understand. This is a government which has come from the back door. This is a government which was never voted to power. And again I am telling you, they formed a government. But where is the narrative of good governance? And who is talking all this? This is being spoken by their own MLAs. Unless they say that the MLAs are talking all rubbish. Which is not the case also. So I am only trying to say that the situation in the state is such that people want issues to be solved. People want people's problems to be solved. And the endeavor of TMC, MGP together is to provide a good alternative to the people.
Sandesh, the issue is again the AAP. It has now decided to go on its own as far as we know at this point of time. So, do you also believe, or do you believe that the era of coalition and alliances is here to stay, or AAP believes that it should go completely on its own without any kind of alliance? Because you didn't do any alliance last time as well.
Yes, we didn't do it. Let me actually cover the points which I want to cover before. Yes, as Yatish said it, this government has stolen the mandate, in fact. The mandate which was given to, but Congress at the same time was responsible to sell it off to them. Why did they do this is a bigger question. Because there were a lot of projects which were, in the finalization stages, and where Goa as a state, a beautiful state of Goa, was losing its own self. And just to ensure that Goa loses its own self, this government was formed. As a Goan, I feel pained when I see Goa has suffered very badly in the last 10-15 years. And that's only because of BJP, Congress, and the other two alliances. One of them is a part of their alliance right now. These people have seen that Goa suffer like anything at all fronts, economical, everything literally, and to a great extent environmentally. We will not be in a state to show this Goa to our kids if this thing continues.
Fair enough. So you still feel that AAP has the strength to go it alone in the next elections completely?
Yes. Why we don't want an alliance? We don't mind an alliance. Whoever wants to give a clean, credible governance, we are okay with them. But then the way recent happenings have come out, we had a talk with MGP, but then there were demands and there were other, things which we could not accept any time, and that's the reason that thing failed. But yes, AAP is capable enough. AAP has got its model of a good governance, and which has been proved in Delhi. We have talked about people. We have talked about the needs of the people. We have talked about each and every poorest man. We have the best education policies with us. We have the best health model with us. So this is what we have for state of Goa, and I believe people will realize that.
A quick response to just 2 points that Yatish raised. One is the very eloquent and evocative statements made by Babush Monserrat on the job scams. He has spoken about one major scam in the health department. and he's spoken about FDA health. He's spoken about that, and he essentially said that the PWD minister is also taking money to release jobs in the PWD.
You are forgetting the recent sex scandal as well.
Yes, I'm coming to that as well. I'm talking of two issues, plus of course the sex scandal issue, which has made your urban development and social welfare, if I'm not mistaken, minister. I think he had a role there as well. But quickly respond to these three things. The allegations made against the party by its own MLAs on scams and corruption.
See, just one question that I could not answer earlier, that BJP is in power in 12 states.
12.
And in addition, we are operating Pondicherry as well as Bihar, where we are alliance partners. And also, like, you said something about people's problems. I think we have solved more than that. Zuari Bridge is a prime example, which the BJP government has said. As far as coming to job scale is concerned, I think what Mr. Vatsalath has said, if he has any proof, he should actually take the route, go to the police and file a complaint, law will take its own course. But making mere allegations, I don't think.
Okay, so you feel
it doesn't cut. Because
so you feel that no, the issue of the recent posts which have been given, the LDC posts, and the fact that out of the 105 roughly shortlisted, 85 were from Valpoi and Puri. Are you saying that fact is not proven yet?
If there was fact, he should have gone to the police, not to the press.
No, I understand that, but it's your own government and own
I agree.
health minister. What's your assessment?
I don't know what is his compulsion to go out and
No, forget Montserrat's compulsion and the issue. Keep the issue aside.
Allegation doesn't become a proof of
But has the party looked into this?
Party will definitely look into it. I mean,
because it's not rocket science to check whether this is true or not.
Absolutely.
It's just one call, and you know.
I mean, one MLA making an allegation against a fellow MLA
No,
or a
keep the
minister.
MLA out. What you're essentially saying is this whole issue of one particular department being staffed by people from one constituency of the minister. Are you saying that this is not possible?
See, I think we will have to, because I don't have a data to that, as to how many people have actually been, so that's what I said. I mean, if there is an issue, that will be looked at by the senior party leaders. That's not for me to comment, because to be very honest, I don't really have the numbers. And what Babu should say is, I think you should just give the numbers. Press conference is not going to solve the issue. That's my take on it.
I think he's given the numbers. He's given a letter to the
That's what I'm
CM.
saying, but I mean, if he has given, I'm sure CM and
But
party will take
the issue is again, see, the issue is what happened in the health department may not be an issue of corruption, but it could be a moral issue. You don't do these things because you're depriving other people to do it. That's a take. But the allegation against the PWD minister, where he says, I know people who put money into the minister's hands, these are serious allegations. Do you agree that there needs to be a probe into these things?
See, I think there will be, the party will look at the allegations, and as I said, I mean, if he is private, sometimes it could also happen because, he may not have the appointments may not have gone the way he wants. So, anybody and everybody is free to allege, as I said.
So you're saying it could be a grudge allegation without any element of truth?
It could be. So that's what I'm saying. If at all, see, just because there is an allegation does not mean there is truth to it. And I think, and since the party, they are so eager to also know about the other so-called scandal which has happened. I think the minister, in the most fair thing he could have done was to step down, and which he has. Saying that, at least, I don't want to
But
be seen.
initially when it came up, I think CMS was the one who defended him, saying that people have to come and complain. And there were arrangements made for the victim to go to Bihar and file a complaint there.
So
this you can.
By that yardstick, even Sankalp is an accused, and he is accused of a very serious crime. Where the lady has said that they tried to.
Yeah, but then the people understand the whole story behind it.
This is the problem.
Sandesh.
You want to understand it the way you want. A mere allegation. So today you want to say that any allegation that comes, you are basically.
It was not just an allegation.
Okay.
It was not just an allegation. It was a serious allegation which should have been investigated.
How do you determine this? What kind of
Let's
Should have been investigated.
So he's
Okay, let's restrict this to-
innocent.
No, yes,
let's have a
definitely.
discussion.
Guilty
Let's have a
till
discussion.
proven innocent.
Who said
Let's have a
guilty? But
discussion.
who is going to investigate?
Okay. It'll be better if both
Who's
of you
going to
both of you
investigate
answer
the matter?
turn by turn. Let both of you
See,
speak.
he's
Okay.
been interrupting me constantly.
Okay. No, I'll give you a chance to respond. Sanjay Babu, we'll give you a chance to respond to this. We'll let him do it and you respond on the same topic. The point here is that one is not getting into the merit of the charges, okay? But you do admit that when these kind of allegations are leveled and with a certain amount of proof that has been put forward, I'm not saying that it is absolute proof whether it's true or not, but enough evidence for an investigation to start. Let's put it this way, okay? Don't you think that this kind of, it would have happened to any party? Because if it had happened to any other minister of any other party, the BJP would have been the first to jump at it. There's no denial. Because these are political times, elections are there, everybody will take political capital, and the BJP too would have taken to the streets if this had happened. So let's not, shy away from that. The point is, when something like this happens and comes out, whatever be the reason, doesn't it kind of impact the party and its efforts to move ahead?
See, in the short term, yes, it does. But I think that people also see through a lot of things. The first thing that they can see through is the complainant. Complainant has been the principal opposition in Mahbubua for last 2 elections. He has been rejected twice. So this kind of threat is expected. Secondly, the women he claims that agree. Today, ideally speaking, the victim files a complaint. Today there is a third party filing a complaint against whom the woman is already filing a complaint. So when it comes to that, see today, ultimately technology has also taken a huge growth by leaps and bounds. Today you don't know what the reality is. So all I'm saying is, let us wait for the fair growth and then comment on it. So that today the principal opposition can go and comment anything. See, if anybody else would have done it, I think people also would have maybe taken it more seriously than what they are doing now. Sankalp has been trying to defeat him for last 2 terms and he has not been able to. So I think this is more of political vendetta rather than anything else.
Okay, this can be political vendetta, but with regard to both the PWD job corruption scam alleged and whatever happened in the FDA, these are things that need to be looked at. Yatish, quick response to on this topic.
No, I feel that, see, in any dispensation, today you have a dispensation of the BJP. When the constituent of a dispensation makes allegations against his own dispensation, it reveals that all is not well and something is going wrong. Because when a minister speaks and says, an MLA speaks and says that jobs
who is as good as a minister?
Yeah, he says that jobs are being sold or jobs are not this. See, these are serious allegations. So what I only want to say is that issues of the state need to be addressed, and this is the time that Goa really deserves good governance. So Goa is facing an election, and the election has to be on issues, and the issues are that how are you going to solve these problems? That's what I expected to even answer that. See, you take the issue of unemployment, you take the issue of jobs in the sense IT, skill-based, knowledge-based, pharma, retail, manufacturing, service sector. See, there has to be very specific policies on how you will address this issue, because youth of this state are really troubled.
Okay, I'll do one segment on that right now. I'll just since you've initiated it, but I'll formalize this structure. In this last round, before we conclude, I'd like each of you, starting with you, and then we can go to the others as well, that in this election, where we know that everybody is looking forward to at least one strong leadership and elections revolving and pivoting around that leadership, but at the end of the day, that leadership also has to go to people with issues. And so if you can just pick 3 or 4 key areas that need to be raised and addressed.
See, I feel there are 3 issues which are very important. One is unemployment. Unemployment has to be addressed through a policy approach wherein you bring in stimulus to the industry. You bring some stimulus to the service sector. You need some policy approach on manufacturing sector, green industries, knowledge-based, skill-based, IT. You need a good policy. Second issue, which is very important, is inflation. See, when your cooking gas touches 1000 rupees, when your petrol touches 100 rupees, see, diesel touches a high figure, then there is cascading effect.
Right.
And you need to control the inflation, because then a common man whose salary has shrunk, because corona, so many things have happened, You need to give solace, you need to give confidence to a common man that your livelihood is being supported. So inflation has to be controlled. So there is a policy which is needed to control inflation. And third is education, health, which is very important. There should be specific approach on improving education, improving health. And fourth is public infrastructure. Public infrastructure means roads. Public infrastructure means guaranteed good condition of roads. Public infrastructure means government hospitals which should be in good condition. Public infrastructure means markets, playgrounds, senior citizens facilities. This should be in a better position. See, Goa is a very small state. Goa's population is about 15 lakhs. And this state can be administered better because the issues are issues which can be addressed. They are not issues which are very difficult issues. A good policy, a good approach, sensitivity in the administration can address these issues. So we need a policy perspective. We need an approach which is ingrained in policy, and we need to have a participatory approach whereby people have a sense of belonging with what sort of administration they want. And therefore I was trying to tell you that whenever issues are there, we have to solve those issues. We cannot pile up issues like jobs. If you see jobs, youth are going out. Some of them are going overseas. Some of them are even taking up Portuguese passports. Some of them are going to Bombay, to Bangalore because of IT sector offering more jobs there.
Right.
So many of them are actually going into sort of a situation where they don't know what to do. So jobs is a major sector where I think a very good policy approach is needed. You need green industries in Goa, pharma industries. See, Goa is very ideal for knowledge-based industries, whether skill-based, IT, whatever, pharma. So I think there should be a good, and we need a good tourism policy. Tourism policy has to be holistic. Tourism policy has to understand the strengths of our state, has not to dilute the ethos of our state, at the same time be a very, very positive policy and which brings the name of the state up. Another issue is mining. See, mining, much has been spoken of. At the end of the day, the law is very clear. You have MMRDA Act. You have the judgment of 7th of February 2018. You have to restart mining. The MMRDA Act is clear. The policy of law is very clear. And the judgment is very clear. You have to understand that mining is fundamental to the state's economy. Because ultimately you need revenue. Whether it is for social welfare schemes, whether it is for something which is beneficial in the nature to the common man, or whether you need to even fund your public infrastructure. You need money. You need money, and money is basically coming into Goa from basically two sources. One is tourism based and one is mining. And then you have service sector, you have so many other things, excise and all that, GST, but that is different. But the two pillars have to be again sort of made strong. Tourism and mining. And mining you should restart in the framework of law, and sustainable legal mining is a must ASAP.
Sandesh Babu, we've heard Yatish's points. What are your basic points on the 3 to 4 major issues that Goa needs, and on the basis of which the next elections are going to be fought?
See, the basic and the first important
And one aspect that Yatish has not raised is the issue of Goan identity. I think that needs to be focused as well.
That is,
So,
I said it, ethos.
yes,
I
yes.
said
But
Goan
if you could just
ethos.
elaborate on
First
that,
thing-
and what will the AAP go with?
The first and the foremost thing is Goan identity and Goa's environmental protection,
Yes,
which needs to be done.
Yes.
With the kind of projects the BJP has gone ahead, last almost 10 years,
Yes.
Goa has suffered very badly. We need to see that a proper permanent solution is taken, or decision is taken into it, and that needs to be put to an end.
Right.
Second thing is corruption. It's a rampant corruption. He might say these are baseless allegations, but then when a minister, a person from the own government is alleging that jobs have been sold, it's a very serious concern.
Right.
I think that minister should have been made to resign the very moment that and probe should have happened, because this.
Well, to be fair, he did resign.
He should have been made to resign, because as they claim they are they're a party with a difference, but I don't think the difference is anymore left out. Third important aspect is education. See, education today has become a very costly affair for a common man. That's the reason your government schools should be strengthened. The infra at the government schools should be strengthened. The level of education which is given at the government schools should be strengthened, because that is what can get equality in the society. Education is the base of all your future, is a solution to all your future problems. And next is health infrastructure. Three-tiered health infrastructure needs to be developed. Besides mining, tourism is a big industry in Goa. There is lots to be done for tourism, because we are only encashing on the natural resources. Besides the natural resources, I think eco-tourism can be developed. We have many such opportunities in Goa, wherein you can have 12 months tourism in Goa, and that could be a big industry which...
We're just running out of time, so I had to rush you a little bit. Giraj Bab, final words from you before I sum up the whole thing. Essentially, a quick response to the points made by Yatish and Sandesh. Primarily, one needs to also ask, has the BJP succeeded in what it set out to do? If it did, then why are there so many to-do or wish lists being raised by the opposition?
See, governance, first of all, is a continuous process. I don't think if just being in power meant anything, then Congress would have not needed a...
No, has this government failed or succeeded in delivering what it set out?
So I'll come to that point, that one of the major themes that we are going to take is Dhawa versus Samruddhi Goicha Vikasachi. So 10 years of absolute prosperity and governance is what we are going to project. And I just want to share, I will not take more than 2 minutes.
Okay, so what I'm saying, just to inform the viewers, you are essentially saying that the Goans have witnessed last 10 years of prosperity. That's what you're saying.
100%. Okay. I'll tell you why, and social schemes that Yatish Bab said that there has to be social schemes also.
Yes.
Today they are making promises left, right, and center. Whether it is the Congress teams or as far as Bengal is concerned, they are giving some 500 rupees to women. When Atishi was asked the same question about Delhi, she said currently no woman is getting any sort of Griha. So these are the schemes that BJP has started and run successfully.
And money is going into all accounts?
See, whatever is pending will be cleared by December. That has already been clarified this year. So I think last 2 months or 3 months is pending.
But why?
Rest
They are poor people, no? They need money every month.
So I agree. But what I am saying is, so ultimately you are going to criticize because there has been a delay. But hail parties which are not doing.
No, I'm not hailing, I'm asking.
In their own state. Second question is, Ladli Lakshmi, there are about more than 70,000 beneficiaries. Griha Aadhar, there are almost 1,20,000 plus. The same thing is with DDSSY, where older people get. The Deen Dayal Swasthya Seva Yojana, which is there, more than 2 lakh families are enrolled. So I think these are the aspects.
No, these are very good schemes.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Again,
Would you agree that there has been an issue of delivery?
No, I think first mining stopped. Now in the current government we have had COVID. We have had a cyclone.
I'll give you one example.
Of that, see, that's what I'm saying.
No, one is not criticizing. One is only saying what happens in these schemes. The proof of the pudding lies in the delivery.
But I think all the schemes are being...
See, okay, I'll give you just one example. I'm not nitpicking, but I'm just saying that, these things need to be looked into a little more in detail. In Panjim, in the Talegaon area, there is a couple, very old couple. The wife is physically challenged. The husband also can't hardly walk. They are both DSS beneficiaries. We went there. We sent our team as Herald. This came up during a routine story we are doing. Suddenly, this issue came up. Both the man and the woman, the man and the wife, they both broke down on seeing us. Extremely poor couple. They didn't have anything to eat. They were both DSS beneficiaries, and they both said that they had not received their amounts for the last 6 to 7 months. At that point of time, Herald decided to take a step forward, and this is not to publicize us, but I'm just putting it across that we have been funding that family for the last 6 months now. So I'm just saying that are you aware that these cases could happen, and are you all doing something about it? That's all I'm saying.
See, there might be a few cases, there might have been few delays, but as I said, I mean, when we talk about these schemes, we talk about successfully delivering them for 10 years. And there might have been a few challenges, there might have been administrative issues, financial issues, or whatever. But you cannot do away with the fact that for last 2 years, we have been facing a pandemic that no country has faced. I mean, in the world, I mean, if even talking about inflation today, look at the US. I mean, the repo rates are going up. So we are not.
What is the feedback? Okay, forget opposition parties.
No,
What is the feedback that you're getting from the
I
people? Are they happy about these?
See, if you ask me, people are saying that it is the government that has delivered.
Okay.
Like for example, Congress was in power for 10 years at the center.
Right.
They could not build a single Zawari bridge. Whether it is Kalvi Bridge, it was BJP that did something like Atal Setu, BJP did.
Going back to the social welfare scheme, just trying to pin you on that a little bit, about the social welfare schemes, would you say that during this forthcoming election campaign, you'll be able to go to the people proudly and are confident of getting votes based on your social welfare schemes?
I think we will go on all-round development.
No,
Whether
let's
it is-
stick to this.
No, why?
No,
See,
no,
when
no.
you are in power for 10 years.
But this is your big ticket achievement according to
Of
you.
course, I mean, our infrastructure is also big ticket. The way we have revamped schools is our big ticket. With the garbage treatment plants that
But are you saying your social welfare schemes will help you in a big way in the next elections?
See, social welfare schemes are for the benefit of the people. And that is one of the achievements which we are going to showcase. But it is not done with the sole purpose of votes. But I think it's been done with the intention of helping.
And you're saying you've been successful in doing that?
Yes, we have successfully rolled them out for the last 10 years.
Fine. Okay.
So all I'm saying is basically based on promises versus action.
Right.
When people said, and the last thing, as I said, ultimately to deliver on your promises, you need to be in power. I don't think any political party apart from the BJP today even has 40 candidates.
Okay.
I mean, there is a big problem because most parties are still,
But if you have
have
candidates, and why are you getting candidates from other parties?
No, so ultimately, why not? Why not?
No, but if you have 40 candidates, then you're still getting candidates from other
So,
parties. See, for instance, if you had a candidate, if you had a candidate in Saligaon, would you have got Jayesh? If you had a candidate in Purvani, would you have got Rohan?
I don't think. See, we have
Maybe they are not worth it.
MLA there. We have had a good time MLA there. So it's not about people. If new people want to join in, see again on Jayesh. I think if you see, there is no negative about him. He's been an MLA for 5 years. People like him. So if he wants to join the BJP, what can we do? And the party that he formerly was has been reduced to a one-man independent with the party.
But you had a former minister, Dilip Parulekar.
I agree. So Dilip Parulekar also, I mean, it is the party that has decided that possibly on the winnability factor, so Jayesh is a better one. And as I said, Jayesh is extremely popular there. So I don't see anything wrong in bringing him there. If new people want to join in, say today by then he had said, today, the new parties which are coming in have to groom leaders from the scratch. Even he talked about Amit Palekar. Amit Palekar's speech with pride. That he was a BJP Karyakarta. Though none of the BJP people remember him being a Karyakarta, his mother definitely was a big Mahila Morcha Karyakarta. In 2014, he writes on Facebook that I don't support any political party, but I will vote for Shipad Bhav. But he claims, so when they talk about, and last but not the least, you can accuse us of poaching MLAs. Today, TMC is saying we have one MLA. So where is he coming from? As Churchill,
We are not saying we are poaching. We are saying you are getting them.
No, so TMC is also
So buying them.
TMC today. See again, I mean, see, look at this. I don't know what was your deal with Marvin Wright or.
Definitely.
So that
We are not in the power to make a deal.
Is it?
Okay, anyway, so fine. Okay, this will go on. Of course, this is
What was
a
your deal with Reginald?
Definitely.
this is a beautiful.
If it had to be a deal, he would have been with us.
See, let us
Possibly you went back and
let us put one thing on the table. The issue is that no party can be away from the common hawa, as they call it in Hindi, and the hawa is this, that there are certain things that all political parties will do to win, because that era of that strong leader, overriding issue, sweep, on which you sweep elections, those days are sadly gone, which is the reason why every party is probably ending up using the same tactics to win. So, and keep on criticizing other parties for using the same tactics. That has become the bane or the template of elections, let's put it this way. But the idea here is that, let us kind of try and summarize this freewheeling, slightly unwieldy, but yet very interesting discussion. Because when you have, three very volatile and articulate people from different parties, this is bound to happen, which only makes this whole game very interesting. Quick points to summarize this before I conclude. Point number one is that in a democratic system that we have, the era of very, very tall leaders who carry the election, that has gone. And parties are not getting an absolute mandate, primarily because of that reason. That may not be the complete reason. Point number two, issue-based politics still have a place. And if you have a good narrative to go to the people, I think that will again happen. And each of the parties in the fray in this election needs to put out the right issues, problems as well as the solutions, which has been attempted in this discussion. Point number three is that corruption and lack of governance is going to become a critical issue irrespective of all other issues. And I think the ruling party, if it manages to defend that, or if the opposition party manages to expose that, both these factors will play a big part in these elections. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all three of you for a very, very engaging and a good discussion. And the few bits of altercations that happened only lead to the health of our democracy. And we all believe that this is all for the cause of a greater Goa, because at heart I don't think there could be any doubt about the fact that all the three gentlemen here think of nothing better than a better Goa for all of us. Let's at least end with that hope, and thank you very much for this discussion.